And a good evening to everybody as we are once again part of the Calvary Coaches Show on this late night edition. I hope everybody enjoyed the events that has happened in the past week here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. I've got a special coach because not only is he the baseball coach of Calvary Christian, he's also the athletics director. So we're going to briefly talk about what's been going on in the baseball season and also a little state of the program on what's going on with Calvary Spring Athletics. Please welcome to the Calvary Coaches Show, Coach Steve Smith. How are you doing, Coach?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Richard?
Doing great. Team 4-3 on the season. You got a 3-game win streak. Finished strong at the Border Wars, picking up victories over Pike Road, Russell County, and Holtville. So far, 7 games into the season. What have you learned from your team?
The first 8 games of our schedule tomorrow kind of finishes that up with our second game against Lakeside. We really wanted to have a first tough stretch of the season just to kind of really see where we were at, and really it's kind of highlighted where some of our weaknesses are, and that's what we've been laser focused on, trying to address those things. Last few games we've started to really hit, so we're just trying to have a little more consistency with our hitting. So that's where we're at right now. The pitching is kind of in my mind has been a little bit better than what we had kind of seen in the preseason. We've had some really big starts, especially in the last week, and so we're just looking to build on that.
Yeah, Coach, your pitching has been fantastic. Braxton Wilkinson has a 0.00 earned run average. Tommy Irving with a 0.70 earned run average. Brady Reed. I mean, you've got some young arms. I know last year Bailey Thorne was your starting pitcher. He's now at Columbus State. But talk about your pitching staff and especially getting this rotation prepared for upcoming region games that are going to be crucial region games, especially with this 3-game series coming up against Westfield School.
Yeah, through the whole off season, we kind of had a pretty good idea of who was going to be at least in competition for starts, and then obviously for the bullpen, and we really haven't gotten really to everybody yet. We believe there's a couple other guys that are gonna step up as we move on through the season. But it all starts with Tommy Irving. He's been our number one. We knew he was going to be our number one, coming into the season. He's thrown well. He's thrown well each time out. One game we didn't really help him out a whole lot, but other than that, he's been pretty good. Braxton, really kind of a guy that we see a lot of potential in. He's a 2-sport guy. Really just been working on just some things, kind of cleaning up his mechanics and just kind of really addressing kind of the shape of a couple of his pitches. And we've used him, at the JV level a couple different times just to try to get him a chance to get out there and work on some things. And then we just kind of let him go in that first that first game, or that game right after the Glenwood game at Border Wars. And he won a complete game, 2 or 3 hit shutout. He didn't strike out a lot of batters, but he got a lot of weak contact. And I think as the season goes on, we're going to see the strikeout numbers increase, because he had several times where where he was struggling to find the breaking ball, and then found it in the 4th inning, and that really just added another level to him. Brady Reed came out and threw a great game, for us, against Russell County, and just did a good job. Same thing, just kind of limiting traffic on the base pass. He had a couple walks, had a couple hits. We rolled him back out there in the 6th. And probably went maybe an inning too long with him. He ended up giving up a 2-run home run, but up to that point had I think a 3-hit shutout. So, we got 2 back-to-back really good starts, and then we followed it up with Colton, and Colton Silvestri, little bit unlucky in two of his starts, one against Central, where we didn't really play good defensively behind him. And then at Holtville, started off, threw up a 0 in the first inning. And then, defensively, just some of the issues that we've been having kind of cropped up in that inning. But we did a good job of fighting back and ultimately ended up with a walk-off 2-run home run by Bryson Brooks to win that game in extra innings. So, all in all, you look at where we're at, you look at the schedule that we've played, 4-3. Obviously, you look at the Northside game, you're up 4-0 going into the fifth inning, with 2 outs in the fifth inning, and we don't close the door in that game. That one still hurts. And then you look at the other 2 losses, and really, if we play a clean game defensively, we're in both of those games. And it is what it is. It's where we're at. It's some of the struggles that our team has, and those are the things that we're working on. That's literally what we've spent this week on practices, trying to address some of those issues that we've had.
Coach, let's talk about the hitting. Several key hitters from last year's championship team is back, including Cam Houston and Bryson Brooks. Like you mentioned, Bryson Brooks does have the home run this year, but several newcomers that maybe did not see a whole lot of playing time has come in and has made an impact. I'm talking Trip Ellison. Liam Holcutt has really stepped up. And of course, Jackson Kennedy, who's behind the plate, but he's also got a big bat with 5 RBIs, and he had that 3-run shot against Lakeside. Just talk about just the timely hitting that's really helped this team not only get some wins, but also just keep this team in games.
Yeah, before I get into the hitting, one other pitcher too that has done a really good job for us. He's a freshman, is Fitzstone. We brought him in. He actually closed out a couple games for us.
Nice.
And, as a freshman, just trying to, make sure we kind of pick and choose our opportunities for him right now. But that's another extremely talented arm. And Braylon Fryerson's a guy that, we've only thrown him once this year. Him, Liam Holcutt, Trip Ellison, those are some other guys that we'll see throughout the season, also on the mound. Offensively, Trip Ellison really, as we were going into the start of last year, he was one of those guys that I really felt was going to have a breakthrough season last year, and just, struggled a little bit at the beginning of the year and really needed to kind of work on some things at the JV level. But really, this year we've seen kind of what we thought we were going to see from him last year. We've really seen it take off this year. He's had competitive at-bats just about every single at-bat that he's had this year. He had, 1 or 2 that he just kind of got out of his process just a little bit, but he can do a lot of different things. Plays a solid defense for us as well. Tom, Cam, and Bryson, obviously those are the 3 guys that are really the 3 that, really were substantial impact players for us last year. And so they're just looking to build on, what they did last year. You mentioned Liam Holcutt and Jackson Kennedy. Those are probably the 2 guys that last year saw a little bit more time than the rest of the guys. Jackson was our number 2 catcher last year, so he kind of switched on and off with Joel Cordero. And the same thing, just the maturity at the plate, just seeing some really good at-bats from him. Liam Holcutt hasn't really gotten it going yet. He's going to. He was really at the back third of our season last year. We utilized him kind of in the DH role, pinch hit, and really I thought he had a strong finish to the season last year and has a tremendous amount of upside. We've seen a couple big doubles from him, but he's going to get much more consistent as we continue to move on. That's another big bat in the lineup. Nate Osborne, didn't play a whole lot last year, but offensively so far this year, he's had a few games where he's really hit the ball well. Brady Reed's another guy. Last year we viewed him more as just a guy to potentially help us on the mound, and this year offensively has just done a really good job of just whatever the team needs. He's gone backside a couple times. He's dropped down a bunt. He's been a guy that's driven in runs. And so he's done a lot of different things, for us this year. Jay Smith is a guy that we've had some struggles at second base a little bit, and so we've just been kind of looking for the right mix. But Jace has kind of been the guy recently that's really stepped it up and kind of trying to help solidify that position. But offensively, he's hit several balls hard. Doesn't have a whole lot to show for it. He just missed hitting a home run the other day, but he's another one we're really excited about. Excited about his bat. So those are the guys that have kind of been in there right now. Braxton Wilkinson, at the plate, William Hilton, some of those guys, they're going to get some opportunities. Liam Anderson, Fitz, as we continue to keep going through the season, there'll probably be some opportunities to try to get those guys going. Mason Bishop, to try to get them going and hopefully provide some depth and give us some options off of the bench, as we kind of get late into the season.
Coach, I want to talk about the region because you do have a game tomorrow against Lakeside School, but then you start region play, and this has got to be one of the toughest regions in the GIAA, with Brookstone, the defending GIAA champions. Strong Rock was in the semifinals. Pacelli was in the quarterfinals. Westfield School, with them being in the region now, they're going to improve. You start off with Westfield School. Next Tuesday, we will have that for you on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And then you have to travel to Perry, and you'll have to play a doubleheader, which that is typical. When you have to go on the road, you'll play a doubleheader because you don't want to travel to Perry twice. But then you'll take on Strong Rock. Again, you get to play them at home. We'll have that for you on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, March 25th. Have to go on the road for a doubleheader before you do play Brookstone and Pacelli. Just talk about playing teams like Westfield School and Strong Rock in those first two region opponents where you only get one game at home, but you got to turn around and play both teams on the road in a doubleheader. Just talk about that disadvantage of having to travel on the road compared to playing a Brookstone and Pacelli where all three games are in town and you don't have any doubleheaders.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things, going to the new league that I think is a good thing. I think for us, it'll be a challenge, but we're really excited about the talent that's in our region. This is something that we've wanted for a really long time. That region games, they really mean something. We're on like a 50 game region winning streak. Over the last 10 years or 9 years, whatever it is, since the last time we lost a region game, and really there, to be honest, over the last couple of years, we didn't have to be at our best and we would still win our region games. I didn't have to, throw sometimes our top arms in region games, and we could kind of go after some other teams outside of the region and know that maybe our 3, 4, and 5 guys would be able to get us a win in a region game. That's not the case anymore. So, really we're getting into the part of the schedule where every single game is going to matter, which is a big reason as to why, I set up the schedule the way I did for the first 8 games. I felt like if this team specifically, just knowing, where some of our lack of depth is, where some of the lack of experience we have, that if we were going to do anything inside of our region, but most importantly, if we were going to do anything inside the postseason, I felt like we were going to have to be tested very early on and really kind of highlight, some different things within this team. And I think it's worked. I think it's been tough. I could have really, scheduled, a cupcake schedule like a lot of some other teams have kind of done, and we'd be feeling really good about ourselves. But in the past, that's never really helped us out. It's been something that every year we try to push our schedule to really make sure that we're tested. And so instead of just having the real shiny record, I felt like we needed to really be tested in the early part of the season. And I feel like that's going to help us as we move on into the season, and obviously as we start region play next week.
Coach, obviously the goal is to get to Synovus Park at the end of May to play in the GIAA state championship. And I know that making that transition from the Gaps, a 6-time champion in the Gaps, and I know that GIAA, I mean, you got some talented teams in there. Brookstone, the defending champions, First Presbyterian Day, another very talented team. Do you feel like your team will be playing the best baseball when it matters, when you get down to the end of the season and you start the postseason? Do you feel that you're going to get to that point where you need to be to win playoff games, to try to make that ultimate goal to play at Synovus Park?
Yes. I mean, the goal always is the back third of your schedule. You want to be playing, the best baseball that you've played all year long. And really outside of a couple of exceptions over the last probably 5 years, that's really what we've done, which has been at the end of the season. We've kind of figured some things out. Roles have been defined, early on in the year. And I tell our guys this every year, the opening day lineup, I can promise you it won't look the same at the end of the season. Some people may look at that and kind of, question that. I just feel like we're gonna throw some things out there, and we're gonna continue to keep improving. Hopefully, guys continue to keep stepping up, and what we'll do is we'll create depth, and really we'll be battle tested, and hopefully by the end of the year, you've really figured some things out. Really, I mean, there's been times in some of our seasons where it is spring break or the week after spring break, and we're still trying to figure out the identity of this team. And you can look back, and those have been successful seasons, but we haven't really figured out really everything just about this team. And I think for us this year, that's our goal. We want to do it obviously a little bit sooner because the games, like I said, I mean, we're going in, we're 7 games in. We play Lakeside tomorrow night, and then we go into region play. So, so the games, next week, they really, really matter. And really from a GIA standpoint, it really comes down to not even necessarily the region. Obviously, if you take care of business in your region, you're going to put yourself in a great position for the seeding of the postseason. But our postseason is determined by max prep rankings, which is also another reason why, trying to put together a schedule that, that's going to give you a pretty high strength of schedule is going to bode well for you. So you have to kind of balance out the wins and the strength of schedule. I just felt like the early part of the year, kind of loaded up as much as we can. Obviously, your schedules have to align with other teams. But in doing that, I think we're going to be well prepared as we go into, tomorrow, being a big game against a 22-win team, in Lakeside, and then going into Westfield next week at home, and then the doubleheader on the road.
You are watching the Calvary Coaches Show late night edition. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Coach Steve Smith, we're gonna have just a little conversation about your athletic director duties, really the state of the program, and what's going on in spring sports. You don't want to go anywhere. It's the Calvary Coaches Show here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. We'll be right back after this.
Introducing Gatorade Water. Everybody. Alkaline and electrolyte infused for great taste. Everybody. Gatorade Water, always in motion.
And welcome back to the Calvary Coaches Show here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. We are presented by Buffalo Rock, Masterwall Incorporated, Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC, Kinetic Credit Union, Gordy Eye Care. Coach Smith, obviously, not only are you the baseball coach, you are also the athletic director. And, spring sports, we're going to have the Spring Media Day at the Beck Center on Sunday. We can't wait to hear from your spring coaches. And earlier today, you saw Ace Charter taking on the Calvary girls and boys soccer teams. Let's start with soccer. Just talk about how the season's going so far. Who are the coaches? And we'll just go down the line, all the sports in the spring that Calvary has to offer and how they're doing.
So boys soccer is coached by Matt Orr. I think they're 5 or 6 wins so far into the season. They've played again. Same thing with them. They've played a really tough schedule to start the year. Columbus High, Central. I think Shaw. They've had and then obviously Ace this evening. So, I think they're, I think we had a tie in one of the games. So there's a couple things that could have gone our way. One of the games we were up late, and the other team scored late and kind of pushed it to the end of the game. But they're really excited about the group of guys that they have this year. There's a really good mix of some experience, upperclassmen, and then some talented guys, that will kind of round out the rest of their roster. So, I expect them to be in the mix at the end of the season and competing for a state championship. I mean, they've got that level of talent. So really looking forward to their matchup when they play Pacelli and obviously Brookstone. Those local matchups I think will be great. Girls soccer team, I think they've got 4 wins. They might even have 5 wins. And Lex Harpel, this is her first year. She's taking over for Alex Van. But same thing, they've got a really good group of girls. Brooklyn Van's is a really talented soccer player. So, they're going to be in. They're going to be in every game as well, and really, I expect them to continue to keep improving as we go on through the season. Same thing, the hope is that with the high level of talent that they've got on that team and the athleticism that they have with those girls, that they're going to put themselves in a position to make a run in the postseason as well. So I think for both soccer programs, I think they're headed in the right direction. They probably feel like the same way we do, is that, you leave a game or 2 on the table. You want to try to clean that up as you move on, throughout the season. But I feel like they're heading in the right direction. Track and field is coached by Coach Brunson and Coach Dunn. They've got a big meet this weekend at Strong Rock. So that'll be good. They're going to see a lot of the competition that they're going to have, obviously, in their region. So that'll be an exciting match for them. They had a good showing at the Muskogee County track meet, and they've got several other ones coming up. So we've got several different events where I think we will compete at an extremely high level, and then some other ones we're really trying to see what we have right now, and those coaches, as they go through the year, they'll be able to kind of find the right mix for those different events. Golf, David Folds, they had a good day. I think it was Tuesday at Weiner, Georgia. Again, you've got more players playing this year than we've had in as long as I can remember. We've had some guys that were playing other sports that have decided to jump into golf, and Coach Folds is a great person to kind of bring them up to speed on the game and really kind of develop them. But it starts with Tristan Whitley. He's one of the top male golfers in the area. So again, I think they're going to be in the mix of things, just because again with Coach Folds and some of the guys that they have at the top, we expect them to have another strong season. They've won 3 state championships in gaps, and obviously the challenge and the quality of competition that they're going to face, not only at the state level but even locally with Brookstone and Pacelli. I think that's gonna be a good driver for our golf team to improve over the next few years. And then tennis is coached by Kim and Matt Jeffers. We've had a couple different matches, and again, same thing. We've got a college level tennis player in Finley Jeffers that last year won state, and expect. Last year really was the first year that we've had a tennis program in a few years, and really as they're building the program, that's just going to continue to keep improving. The participation numbers have been great, but not only just having it at the varsity level, but also at the middle school level as well. So really excited about that sport as well.
Well, Coach, I'm excited about the spring sports. Can't wait just to meet all your coaches at Spring Sports Media Day on Sunday. And we definitely are looking forward to live streaming the future spring sports events. So my final question to you, Coach, is I know that it takes a huge effort to help out with the facilities. You had the 100-inning fundraiser, and that did really a lot of great stuff as far as improvement with the baseball field and with the scoreboard and the hitting facility. Just talk about some of the other things, some projects around campus that you've been able to work on, and some future projects out there to help just improve Calvary Athletics facilities.
Yeah, so we just really finished the softball hitting facility, and it's first class. I mean, it has been done, with the highest attention to detail. Coach Carson Lloyd has overseen that project with one of our donors, and really, I mean, it's impressive how they've done that. There's some plans for other improvements at that softball facility that will hopefully take shape over the next couple of years. The baseball field, we talked about that. We did several projects on that field over the last this past off season, where we've started the construction of a new field fence. We've logoed our hitting facility. We had a new bullpen area put in, and then had a donor cover it for us. And then just several different things in the facility that we've been doing improvements on. We did the 100 inning fundraiser last year. We raised about $38,000. This year, we raised another $36,000 that will go towards field improvements. And that's just our goal, is just each year we're going to kind of pick a project or two and really try to improve. And our families really buy into that and have really helped to make sure that those two fundraisers have been successful. We've been currently looking at doing tennis courts on our campus, and so our tennis coach and one of the parents have been going through and kind of mapping out where we could potentially put one, and so we're trying to gather all the costs to be able to do that. So that will be an exciting thing, to be able to have tennis courts on our campus. We just finished the interior of the football press box. That's we've had the press box for last football season, but then had it drywalled, and we're working on the finishing touches there. So just some different things around the athletic facilities. We're trying to look for different ways to improve. We're talking about putting in a sand pit for a long jump, and just as we can try to look for some different things to improve for our athletes and their experience, as they come through Calvary.
Well, Coach, I'm excited about all the great projects around Calvary, and really and on behalf of Georgia Alabama Sports Live, we really appreciate Calvary Athletics and you and your staff, your coaches who have supported Georgia Alabama Sports Live as we just want to shine the light on these student athletes, and we are just privileged that we are able to live stream sporting events for Calvary Christian Athletics.
Well, we definitely appreciate it. It's a partnership that, from the start has been a good thing. I always tell people all the time that, what Georgia Alabama Sports Live brings to the community is something that we really had a need for. And you guys have filled that need, and you do an exceptional job. And really, each month and year over year, you guys are, you're putting out an even better product each month. So, I mean, I know you guys are always looking for ways to be able to improve. I've been able to see that the coverage that you provide in the community has been invaluable. I know parents appreciate it. I know people that are just fans of the different sports appreciate it, and it brings a spotlight to the various schools and to the individual athletes. So I think it's a great service that you guys are providing, and you do a great job of it.
Well, we appreciate you, Coach. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule, being on the Calvary Coaches Show, and looking forward to talking to you the next time.
Appreciate it, Richard. Thank you.
All right, that is the Calvary Christian head baseball coach and athletics director, Coach Steve Smith. Thank you once again for watching another episode of the Calvary Coaches Show. Hope everybody has a great rest of your day. Don't forget, next Tuesday, it's Calvary and Westfield School on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next time.